get in, and that's the idea. So don't worry about what that thing is, what the job is right now. Get in, let them do all the background checks they need to do. Okay, let them get you in, do your orientation, finish your 3 months probation, and while you're doing the work, you'll have your 401k plan, you have your benefits, you have they pay for your tuition, you're doing all these things. Just get into the system and start to look and how you can move through the system. You have to go in with a plan. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Guest service representative. What do they require for this one? It's another $18. So this is really more of a greeter in the hospital, right? You know, somebody comes in, oh, welcome to this hospital. You know, how may we direct you? Over there. You direct them. No, it's not a blue-collar worker at all. You just bring somebody in, you direct them somewhere else. Very easy. You have your benefits and you have everything that you need. Okay. So that's just the I need a job right now scenario. The I need a job right now, I just need a job right now. I don't want to go through any training. I don't want to read anything. I don't want to study anything. I don't want to go to any school right now. I just need a job that I can get. That is it. That is the scenario that I just painted for you. Now, if you now say, well, I want to put some time in and put some probably 6 to 10 months in training because I want to do something. I don't just want to just get a job. I want to do something that can bring profit, something a little bit more money in. Some people say, okay, I just want to do CNA. Okay, they make it 8% of the total U.S. healthcare workforce. There's a lot of burnout with CNAs, that's for sure. You know, it's a hard work. People go in and out of that profession. That's why there's a shortage every time, right? By 2028, there's going to be a shortage of over 73,000 CNAs in America. But there will be a surplus of almost 48,000 home health personal care aides, HHAs. It's different from CNAs because home health aides don't have as much of an education as the CNAs. But the thing is that they're beginning to use CNAs to replace HHAs, home health aides. And so for those who may be home health aides, I would say, why don't you go a little further and get your, get a certificate to turn you to a CNA so that you may have opportunities out there. Let's see what they make. An average is $48,000 a year, right? For 6 to 10 year, actually this is 41,000 actually for 6 to 10 months of training. The next is a medical assistant. Now, medical assistants can go all kinds of places. You can just be a general medical assistant. At some point in time, you may decide to say, I want to be a cardiovascular medical assistant, which makes you a cardiovascular tech. Or I want to specialize in something else. So the more you specialize, the more you make and the more grounded you are. Medical assistants can work in physician offices, hospitals, outpatient, as you see over there. Training is typically 6 months, 6 to 8 months. I have 10 months here. And minimum payment is $48,000 a year, of course, when you condense this. Let's take a look at the job here at Robert Wood Johnson. So when you see a pay range of $22 to $29 an hour, of course, you never take the minimum. That's one thing we're actually going to talk about at some point. When it comes to salary negotiation, you never take the minimum that's required, because if you can make it through interview and you're talking about money, they want you already. Okay, so this is somebody who perhaps you're making, I would say, a range of between 22 and 29. I would say maybe 24 to begin with without any experience. High school diploma, 6 months of experience. Of course, your relevant experience will be the training you were doing anyway while you were in the program. That's why whatever program you go into has to be one that's accredited, that has clinical affiliations. And if you're interested in that, we can talk about that later on. perform clinical tasks such as EKGs, hearing vision screens. Just if you go, think of this person who talks to you before your doctor comes in or before the nurse comes to you. That is a person that is a medical assistant. Think of that person. So it's really an opportunity for you to, for those who may just say, I just want to take a break for now before I go. Let me just spend some time. I want to make some money, but I want to work a little bit first and not just do any job, but go through some training, because you can actually build in this training. You can become a nurse afterwards. You can move further into administration afterwards, having that background. So again, it's just to get into the hospital. It's just to get in, because jobs are there. There are jobs there. Anybody have any questions? The other is a sterile processing technician. This could be fun. Another 6 to 12 months, but you need, again, high school diploma for that. Even though it says 45,870 for this, there's a need for that more nowadays. Think about it this way. These are the people that ensure that the surgery things that they use on you are clean, right? They're the people who sterilize these things. They make sure that things are working correctly, that they decontaminate your things, and they sterilize all surgical instruments and equipment. So it's really a good job to be in. You just have to put the training up front. And now, we're talking now more about training now, right? We're talking more about training. We're not talking, again, now we're not talking about these things that are not training, right? So this is about training now, and that's what we're doing at this point. Let's take a look at a job sample. So CSP Tech will be, so it's about $28 an hour. So there's certification involved, of course, naturally. All this requires certification. All right, so we'll do that. There's some schools, you just have to watch which schools you go to. Wherever schools you go to, you have to make sure that it is a school that provides training, or they have the training thing in here. They have the training module. Again, jobs that you don't have to do too much for, 6 months training, 6 to 8 months training. And for some of these jobs, they actually find you jobs. You go through the training, some of them are tethered to hospitals. For example, in my hospital, we have a dialogue with some of the schools around. In my department, I have more than probably 8 to 10 X-ray students who are training as X-ray students. And out of those students, I do think that I will probably keep 2 of them, at least 2 or 3, but it's not like they lack any jobs. Jobs, before they finish, they're going to need jobs. But people are going to want to take them to begin with. I know in my prior place in NYU, we had techs that went through the program, and while they were finishing, we just even hired them before they even took their certification. That's how they're needed, how much they're needed. So all these, you will not find somebody who's credentialed in healthcare, who really wants a job and won't get one. It's just a matter of, do I want to work for an agency, or do I like the schedule, or do I want to work for this organization or not? But they will not tell you, I am certified, that I am a certified medical assistant, I am a certified phlebotomist, I am a certified sterile processing technician, and I don't have a job. No. It's just a matter of you choosing what job you want to take. So, now let's take a look at that again. I want to go there. So a CS, I think there was one for a manager. Okay. So, all right. So this person, let's see what the criteria for the manager of Central Sterile. Because after you've done maybe a year or 2, The manager makes, you see right there, that's between $75,000 and $95,000 a year. Okay? You do your training, your 6 to 12 months training, you get in. You're doing your job, you're doing everything. Once you're in, you're in. You do your certification, you pass your certification, you get the job. And you just begin to put in the grind. You just begin to put in the work. Very so often, opportunities will happen, right? Jobs will open up. And then, because you're there already, it's possible that people will consider you. Look at the qualification for a manager, high school diploma or equivalent GED. 5 years of central supply experience. You don't even have to have the 5 years. If there's a job opening after 2 or 3 years in there, you can apply for it, throw it in your hat. Just make sure people know who you are, right? Prefer 3 years in supervisory or leadership capacity. Sometimes people will say, well, I haven't led anyone. No, you can actually create that leadership portfolio yourself, even without having the title of a supervisor. Maybe somebody new starts work. You say, I want to train this person. You take that person and say, I want to do the training. You put that under your belt. Even though you don't have the title of a supervisor, but you train the person. Somebody else starts, you say, I want to orient this person. You volunteer because you're building equity into yourself. Even though you don't have the title, when the time comes for you to apply for a job, you say, well, even though I didn't have the title, I did this, I did this, I did the other, and that becomes, right? It becomes what you did and what you've been. And the fact that you took initiative, me as a hiring manager, that impresses me. I would say, you know what? You already act in that role without being in that role, so I can trust you with that. 3 years in the position, 6 to 12 months of training, just keep doing the grind, 2 years into it. Opportunities open up all the time. It may not be the same position, it may not be in that same institution, it may be even within the system in a different institution. People will call you for reference and your boss for a reference, and if you do well, you'll get it. So those are the low-hanging fruits. The mid-hanging fruits, which I consider people who are making 57 to 63. Typically, in a job like that, you will have to have about 12 months of training, right? LPNs, they're making a little bit more now, but a typical LPN, licensed practical nurse, who is not an RN, will make about $61,000 a year. And that's just really at the low side of it. Think of it. Right? That's really at the low side of it. There's a growing demand for it to help support the RN shortage that's out there. So if you say, well, I'm a medical assistant, I take that as a, I already am working as a medical assistant, I kind of like this medical field a little bit more. I want to do my LPN. You go to Essex County, they have a program there. You embark on the LPN program, right? And then you finish. You may have to take some more classes to be RN eligible, but there you go. That's good security right there. Medical billing and coding is another one. This one doesn't require 12 months of training. Medical billing and coding is a profession where a lot of these things really are dependent on you, really, in the sense. After you've gone through the school, you go through there, they teach you how to be a coder and everything else. Then you have to sit for the certificate. Sitting for the certificate, becoming a CPC, a certified professional coder, that kind of brings up your value even more. I know people who've just learned to code. When I mean code, not computer coding, it's just coding in medical billing is different. It's just more like, okay, I know 78453 through CPT code is nuclear stress test. And so every time you do something, there's a code you have to punch into the computer that gets sent to the insurance company, right? That the doctor gets paid for. So if you go to your doctor for maybe you have chest pain, 786.50 is chest pain. The person who's a medical coder knows what that is. They don't put 0.40 because they know some, you know, that's what you're spending. So they put that in. So it's just of you knowing your code. And so when you get certified in those type of situations, doctors will hire you, hospitals will hire you because they want somebody who can help them collect their money, right? The worst thing you want is a bad coder. After the doctor's done all this work, and you have somebody who's real bad at their job, not coding right, they won't get paid. That's why they always look for people who are very good coders, and particularly we look for somebody who's certified in coding, right? As I said, this is not computer language, it's just a certain thing, you learn what that is, and 6 months training, you will not find a medical coder who's a CPC certified person that's looking for a job. There are jobs everywhere for medical coders. I'm bringing these things to you. There's a lot of things I could bring to you, but I'm just bringing some of these things to you. It's not an exhaustive list. It's selective so that you can understand that there are a lot of opportunities in healthcare that does not require years and years and years of education, but that you can start with and begin to build on, right? It's like you step one rung of the ladder into the next, into the next, into the next. This is what it is. This is how it really means to be in healthcare. Right? You can work for doctor's offices, insurance companies would love to have you. Medical billing companies, there are a lot of medical billing companies out there that hospitals hire to help do their billing because they don't have enough people or have the people with the right expertise helping them do their billing. So you have these companies out there, the hospitals that will consult with hospitals to help carry out their billing. And of course, when you're known as a very good biller, everybody wants you because you bring them more money, right? So that's so important as it relates to that. Let's see what this says. Go back there. I'm using RBWJ because I have access to their stuff. That's why I'm using that. This one is CPC coder, yeah, $32 an hour. And of course, these numbers, as we see, New Jersey was one of the states that were never really put in the salary of jobs on their positions, but because they've been mandated by law now to do it, I mean, New York has been doing it for years. And so sometimes these hospitals or some other places will just put a range on that because the law says they have to put a range on that. But it doesn't necessarily mean that's where it has to be. It just gives you an idea how far they're gonna go. Usually they will not go lower than that, but if they see value in you, they may even exceed the range. Depends on how you build equity into yourself and how you present it. Okay. So as a medical biller, again, high school diploma, but okay, certified professional coder, right? It's good you have to have that certification. 6 months, you study, you get it, you show your certificate, hey, I got a certificate here. Because it's not, I mean, of course you have to pass it. It's not, you just don't rubber stamp it. It is certification from a valid place. So we talked a little bit about the mid-hanging fruits, about how you can get into some of these places. What about the high-hanging fruits? Jobs from 88,000 and above to 105, or even that exceed that. Just have a selective here. That anybody who goes through an imaging, let's say X-ray, that SS County College provides, or you do ultrasound, right? CT, CAT scan is a specialization of X-ray. You have to go through X-ray first and do that. Or maybe MRI. Anyone who goes through that, you're talking about 2 years and maybe 2.5 years of education. And if you already had some, when I say 2.5 years, if you already had some of your education already, like English, biology, and stuff like that, you're thinking about maybe 2 years. Add 2 years to your life right now. 2 years added to your life. Let's say you've had at least some college math or 2 years to your life and come out and see what you're making right now and what you're going to be making in 2 years. You will not be making less than this. Okay. trying to find something here where I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to go anywhere because I'm no longer there. But let's come out. MRI specialist. Okay, let's not go there, but I can go back to where I was there, and I can actually search it out so you know where it is. So if I type in radiology, and this is the radiology tech at Beth Israel. So this is about, $54 an hour, 42 really, but I can tell you right now, if you're just coming out, me as somebody who's going to hire you, I will probably pay you, hey, without any experience, probably $50 an hour without any experience. I'll probably give you that. And what is that in a year? Math folks, what's $50 an hour times 40 times 52? Pick out your calculator and punch it in. Huh? No. 50 times 40? All right, 50 times 40 is what? 2,000 times 52. There's 52 weeks in a year. 100 and something. Okay. Yeah. 104,000. So you spend 2 years through this program, and then you make 104,000 when you finish. The people that are right now that are going through the program, I look at this, they're not older than you. Right, 18, 20-year-olds going through the program right now. They're going through they just started, some just started, some of their second year. And I'm looking at them and I say, these people, in a year from now, at least a level of them, we're going to make $100,000 in a year from now. Secure. Right. And it's not blue collar. You don't, and there's a lot of overtime. Think about that. There's a lot of overtime, and people actually say, I don't want overtime, because they have enough. So this is where we are. Let me now go through this, because we're going to go into some other things here. Respiratory therapist. Anybody know who a respiratory therapist is? Respiratory therapist, respiratory. Right. When you can't breathe, they're the one who bring oxygen to you and put stuff on. In fact, during COVID, they did a spectacular work. They're the ones who will put you on the ventilator during COVID. They're the ones in the hospital. They were tasked a lot in the hospital. And, they're needed in the hospital. Anybody with lung issues, they're trained to know how to apply oxygen and oxygen treatment, steroid treatments to people. That's what they do. These jobs that I'm getting into right now, this modality, these allied healthcare jobs, ultrasound, people who are pregnant or people who may have issues with their legs, or echocardiogram, people with heart issues, ultrasound tech, right? Same amount of money. In fact, their schooling is not even 2 years, right? I think it's a little older, younger than that. Let me see what it says here. But if you can specialize in something like that, well, there's something wrong with that thing right there. There was someone that I know who became an EKG tech. She was a medical assistant, became a medical assistant. And then after becoming a medical assistant, she says, oh, I want to learn how to do ultrasound. It was in a doctor's office. So after becoming a medical assistant, and she came in, applied as a medical assistant, even though she was not certified. So she trained to take EKGs, trained to take blood pressure and heart rate, and then eventually she sat for the exam and she passed it, certification, right? And then she says, I want to learn how to do ultrasound. And then she began to do ultrasound of the heart, and then went ahead and did certification on that and became an ultrasound tech. That person is doing very well. Right? So there's some of this that's very well. Look at this. This is an echocardiographer. Echocardiographer is an ultrasound tech who works on the heart, right? $49 to $61 per hour. That's what that person is doing. It means you're an ultrasound tech, but you specialize in just working on the heart only. That's over $100,000 a year, probably 120, 130, 120 perhaps. If you do all your 40 hours and wherever that may be, right? So X-ray, right? We talked about that. Nuclear medicine. I'm a nuclear medicine technologist by training. As you see, it's one of the cameras we use to do patients, and you just go through this. And people look at these things and say, oh, this is so intimidating. It's not, really. It really isn't. Once you go through your training, it's just one day. You go one day at a time. They train you how to handle these machines, how to handle patients, your classroom work, and it just becomes repetition. After you've done with your classroom work, you just go like you're going to work every day, to clinic every day, and they're training you how to handle stuff, and it's just repetition. The same thing every day for a year until you kind of understand what that really is, and you're able to do things on your own, and then they evaluate you. But I want to come to a point here, which is, if somebody to say to me today, if you have to just pass just one thing, you just tell me one thing, what is the best one to get into? I want to spend 2.5 years or 3 years or 2.5 years into it. What is the best allied profession to get into? I would say nursing. Registered nursing. What about X-ray and all that? Yeah, all those are good too, but registered nursing has so many paths to get into if you really plan out your way well. Because you have to look into the front. The future of it is this. What are the job prospects? There's always been nursing shortage. And it's not for everybody. Nursing is not for everybody. You have to be able to do it. Otherwise, you will abuse your patients, right? The workforce growth is expected to grow from 3.1 million in 2022 to 3.3 million in 2023. There's so many openings for nursing. I mean, if I go right now, and I will show you. If I go right now, I will tell you. Since we're doing this as a live thing here, so let me just go in there. So many openings. So many openings. You just cannot get enough of it. And this, hold on, let me just get it there. Current slide. Well, we'll get there anyway. Let me show you something here. The reason why I said that is, look at the specialties. There's so many of them. There are 96 specialties in nursing. 96, right? Midwife, practitioner, right? Oncology, neonatal, anesthetists, hospice, cardiac, obstetrics, emergency, psychiatric, telemetry. I mean, it's just so many of them. You can go, you can say, you know, I've done patient care for a year, I don't want to do anymore. You can go into nurse education. I mean, there's just so many things. You can go into informatics, you can go into critical nurse, parish nurse, travel nurse. There's so many things to go into. You just have to plan it out. You can plan the nursing out and go to different places. Nurses are becoming CEOs of hospitals. It depends on how you plan it. You plan it, a certain nurse, and you go to nursing administration, and you go that way, or you be into critical nurse. But either way, that is the best. And people will say, what about guys? Well, yes. Yes. Male nurses are needed. It's no longer, it's just women, females. Male nurses are needed. And in fact, the person who's a CEO of, Chief Administrative Officer of Claremont Hospital is a male nurse. He's now a Chief Administrative Officer, equivalent to a CEO of the hospital, right? We have Chief Nursing Officers that are nurses. Okay, so nursing it's different. It's a field that people should go into. And okay, this is what I was looking for. Let's go into this. Oh, I'm not going to go into that. $99,000 to begin with. There's a rapid growth, leadership opportunities in it. So I was thinking, I said, let me just build out an advanced pathway. Let's say I assume that you want to go into nursing. You say, I want to give 2 years to nursing. I want to go to Essex County College, apply for nursing program. You go to Essex County College, you do your English and math 1, math, and then you do the, nursing math or whatever that may be, medical math, and then do your biology 101, biology 102, anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, chemistry 1. You don't need chemistry 2 really. Physics, you don't really. Maybe they make you do physics 1. You do psychology or sociology, and then you say, I want to become a nurse. So you become a nurse, and within 5 years, you can advance to a charge unit nurse or unit coordinator. Okay? That's RN. But you've only done 2 years in Essex County College, you have your associate degree. So you say, well, I want to have my BSN. So you go for your BSN, right? Once you get your BSN, you can become a nurse educator. And then if you want to go ahead and become a nurse practitioner, you're already on the job, let the job pay for it. Right? Spend a year or two and have the job pay for it, you become that, you're already on the job. Hey, you finish, you just become a clinical director of that particular unit in which you're in, and you want to go further, you go further. So there are a lot of ways to do that. These are the certificate programs in New Jersey. Hackensack Meridian has one. Okay, so ultrasound, radiography, nursing. They have it, so does Essex County College. I would just say, if you're here, you might as well just go to Essex County College, because if you live around in Essex County, because tuition is local. If you go to a different county, you will have to pay double, at least for the first or 2 semesters. If you go to Essex County College, and you get into one of these programs, all they require for you to do is pass the programs with a C. Because they know it's where it is. So it doesn't mean, you pass with a C, you finish. I'm not saying you don't work harder and get an A. I'm just saying that in case you're wondering and say, I can't do this, I can't, you can. You can't do it if you put your mind to it. The people are not better than you. If you have your mind to it and you can study and put aside other things and focus, right? This is your future. So how can I get in? Well, into a hospital system, you apply for a job or you volunteer. And this is where we're talking if you really want to plan it. A lot of people who have jobs or degrees they can't get in. They just want to get a job. Now you can get a job if they're looking for you, right? They have to be looking for you specifically, but if you're already in the hospital system, it's easy for you to get their attention already because you're already in. And one of the reasons way of being in is to be a volunteer to get in. Now, I didn't have that opportunity. It was easy for me to, well, I won't say easy, it's because I trained at the hospital that I got my first job in. So that is different from if I was coming from the outside, looking in. It's hard because you're the outsider coming in. But if you're already in the system, whether you're working in the system, whether you're a student in the system, whether you're a volunteer in the system, you're already in the system, people are going to look at you more than somebody coming from the outside. And not only that, it's who you know really. Because there are a lot of people who are equally qualified. What makes you different? What sets you apart? Well, I know Joe. Joe does not know you, right? Hey, just like as somebody who hires people, not that I'm turning people away. Hey, I could say, hey, Joe, how you doing? Maybe walking down. This guy who says he knows you, you know. Do you know him? You know, can you vouch for him? Oh, yeah, he's a good guy. Good. Well, now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to interview somebody else. I'm going to interview somebody else. But Joe knows you, right? And Joe has already said you're a good guy, and subconsciously he's planted that. That's why it's always good to have, you know, to go to events. It's always good to connect with people, you know, connections and all of that. So you get in the hospital by applying for a job or as a volunteer. There's some volunteer programs there. I don't know, there's some, you just have to, there's this one on the back of your handout there, all the way in the back. For those who may want to go into nursing, if you flip it all the way in the back, they have a boot camp, a nursing boot camp, maybe for a year, a week or so. Just go all the way in the back of it, I think. What does it say? Let me see. I know Trinitas Hospital was given, in fact, Trinitas Hospital has a very nice, robust nursing program, where, you know, they have good mannequins that they spend a lot of money where you can practice on. I mean, they have a very nice lab for nursing students. And there's a program there in the back, and I'm going to run a video for you where you can actually see this person speak about that. But most volunteer opportunities for high school students involve volunteer positions in the summer or year-round program. There's a lot of programs, volunteer programs in the summer. In fact, one just finished, if you go all the way in the back. So you can begin to look out for that, because to make sure that it's something you want to do, right? So let me look at here. In fact, there was a job this past summer here as an intern at Jersey State Medical Center, Jersey Medical Center. Let's read what it says. This is for an intern. They even paid you $15 an hour to intern with them. It was a 6-week program from July 7 to August 15. Just an intern with them. And sporadically, you'll find these things come out in the hospitals where just to introduce people into their surroundings. And this is just a one-time thing, and they probably had multiple people do this. I mean, I work all the way towards the south area, not locally. So we do have interns as well, but it's different from this. We kind of have interns or people in the same profession for what they want to do. But this is just an intern for someone coming in during the summer who got paid for, who they paid for. So there you go, yep. Yeah, this is what I was thinking about. Thinking of nursing as a career, they had this 2025 nurse camp. It's over now, but they have it every year, which means there's going to be another one next year. So if you're really thinking about that, where you just go in and see, and let's see what this says. Let's take a look at this video here. So, oh, what happened?
Hi, I'm Lifechangers. I'm studying in high school, and my guidance counselor had encouraged me to come into this program. She knew that I wanted to be something in the medical field, and she thought it would be really good for me to come here and expand my knowledge. My mother was very supportive, and everybody in my family knows that I want to go into the medical field, and they all thought it was a very good opportunity for me to visit Trinitas. My experience here was phenomenal. I got to work with nurses, I got to experience the life of patients, and it was a lot of fun. I was able to go into the rooms and look at the charts and give them not give them medicines, but help the nurses to distribute. I visited various parts of the hospital, the OR, the ER, the ICU, the endoscopy department, which happened to be my favorite part of the nursing program. We were able to go inside and see what's inside the body. The patients were cool with it, they liked it, it was a great experience. I would definitely encourage others to come here. It expands your knowledge, expands your horizons. Even if you're not sure what to do, this can definitely tell you whether you're somebody to be in the hospital or not.